Older couples that decided to not have children. How do you feel about your decision now that years have passed? For my spouse, I can only say that they have physical and psychological issues that they've mentioned that they'd rather not pass on to a child. For myself, I've always said that while I'm occasionally afraid that someday I might regret not having children, that's not the same as wanting children, and that's an important difference to me. I have my own reasons to believe I'd probably not be a good parent. Yet, we both get concerned sometimes whether anyone will be asked to care about the sole survivor once the other's gone or incapacitated. But this thought is the result of our decisions, not a basis for changing our minds about having kids, which we will not. Having kids or not is no guarantee that you'll end up cared for or not anyway, though it does probably move the needle on your odds. I'm occasionally afraid that someday I might regret not having children. I worked with a nurse who never regretted not having kids, but she loved them so goddamn much that she still wanted children in her life. She instead donated her time to being a big sister in the Big Brother Big Sister program. She was able to pour out love to a child who needed it without being a parent. I'm not a couple, just a person. I've been in lots of relationships and was married twice. I would not have made a good parent. Regret sometimes I wasn't born into a different life, but given the cards I was dealt, I think I made the right choice in that department and have no regrets. Words of wisdom. My husband and I are in our 50s and have been married 19 years. We both grew up with abusive dads, were the smart kid in the family, got the heck out ASAP, worked our way through college and made something of ourselves before meeting and getting married. A lot of common ground and we've built a strong, rock-solid marriage. We considered having kids, but after working so hard on healing from the childhood abuse and escaping the cycle of poverty we grew up in, we decided long ago that just the two of us was enough. We still consider ourselves a family and we've been really happy with our life together. Our home is peaceful and that's the thing we care about the most. If I had to choose now, knowing what I do, between becoming a mother and having the marriage and home life I now enjoy, it's absolutely no contest. Zero regrets. I wanted them but never met the right person. I'm really glad I didn't have any of my previous partners. They would either have made terrible mothers or we just did not make for a healthy couple. I have the perfect partner now, and she did fall pregnant, but we lost the baby to Dandy Walker syndrome. Getting a bit too old to try again now. I am very upset that I will not have children, but I don't regret not having children with anyone but my current partner. We've been married 20 years. We are both 50. Neither of us wanted to bring children into our family. I spent a wonderful afternoon with my 16-year-old niece yesterday. We talked about her boyfriend, picked blackberries and discovered a woodland clam, fingernail mussel, living in a mud puddle, vernal pool, in the woods, which we named Fred. It was magical. I just adore her. Not having kids is just as normal as wanting kids, I've always felt. Zero regrets. I've never wanted kids, but I love the idea of being an aunt. Neither of my brothers have kids yet, though they both want them, but the second I become an aunt I will embrace the role of the eccentric aunt. I go back and forth. My so has some significant mental health issues and I know that I would be alone doing much of the emotional labor of raising a child, and I know I'm not really capable of doing it alone. Sometimes I worry very much about what I will do when I am old. I'm an introvert and don't have many friends and am not overly likable, so I assume I will be alone. I just hope that there are some kind robots to take care of me, and that I'll die before the robots turn on us. This point is often made, but bears repeating. Having kids is not insurance against dying alone. Been married for 21 years and initially we tried to have kids but found out that it was going to be hard to do. Wife was heartbroken at first, but I was somewhat relieved. It's a lot of responsibility and your life changes to accommodate a child. Over the years, wife has actually said a few times that she was glad we didn't have kids because we couldn't have had the adventures we did. I feel like it was the right choice and we're better off due to not having kids. We love our life and are continuing our adventures now in our 50s and we're starting to make plans for retirement. No regrets. Not everyone wants them, and if you're not sure, it's best to hold off. Having ambivalent, or worse, parents does a real number on a kid's self-esteem. Yeah, as the child of someone who clearly didn't want kids but just did it because it was what you were supposed to do after getting married, please don't have children if you're not 100% into the idea of it. Kids should be wanted. I have a professor at my university who has been married to his wife for 50 years, and they have no children. He calls us his children and always talks about how he and his wife are inseparable. He's a really eccentric and energetic guy, even in his 70s. He gives out candy to the entire class before every lecture he gives. He seems like he truly loves life and has no regrets about not having any children. Maybe he just owns shares in all the local dentist businesses. My husband and I are 48. Not having kids is a huge relief. Still, we get to travel, have a nice house, walk around naked if we want, and I have disposable income to support causes that are important. My life is fulfilling and happy. A few of my friends with kids will remark that my husband and I are so lucky because we travel a lot. We chose not to have kids, and they chose to have kids. No luck. We just have extra cash we don't spend on a kid, so we spend it on ourselves. No regrets. I'm 60 now. Been married for 29 years. God did not provide me with the proper temperament to raise children. Have never regretted our decision to be child-free. We're good. This is what I think about myself. I'm just not fit to be a parent, and that's okay. I won't be. I'll let other people who are more capable do that part of life. I go through phases where I regret not having a kid. I still have plenty of time. My wife and I are 36, but we made the decision to be childless a decade ago, maybe more. I understand the appeal of having children and feel it on some primal level, but logically the pros versus cons of having a kid, there are just far too many cons. I go through phases. You would if you had kids too. I'm a 49-year-old female and have never regretted my decision to not have kids. I think I've always been missing the mommy gene. I like not having the responsibilities and obligations and expenses that go along with having kids. I think I'm missing that gene too. I've never had maternal instincts or any real interest in other people's kids. My cousins seem to have it and they had more than enough children to keep the family genes going. My wife and I have been married for 12 years. I am 36 and she is 40. So, yeah, likely not in the cards. It is a reality that, while tough, I am slowly learning to accept. I realize that as a guy, I always look at having kids with rose-colored glasses, ball games, working on my classic car with them, dad jokes, the fun stuff. That's easy for me as it's not my body and sacrifice. My wife is not on board and it's her body and I love and respect her too much to force her hand. If either one of us are not 100% okay with a major decision, we don't do it. End of discussion. I look forward to spoiling my nieces and nephews and spending more time with my wife and continuing to make our world about us. Forever. While I think ideally you would decide these things before getting married, it's wonderful and very mature that you have so much respect for your wife and her autonomy. I'm sure she appreciates it. Well, I'm a dude in a relationship with a dude. 26 years. We could have had children but didn't. Have plenty of nieces and nephews to spoil. Also, we've been able to save and we are retiring this week. I'm 54. We've been trying for years but so far neither of us have gotten pregnant. I always thought I'd wake up one day and be clucky and ready to start a family. That day never came and I'm pushing 50 now, so I've missed my chance. I sometimes wonder if I made a mistake not having kids, but it's not something I really regret. On the plus side, I am looking at retiring with a 6-figure income at 52, regularly donate and do charity work. In fact, I am looking at starting my own charity at the end of the year to dedicate more time to when I retire. In some ways, not having children will allow me to help more people than just my immediate family. My suggestion is do what feels right. Either way, it's a big decision that only you and your partner should make. I agree on the argument about helping others. Not having children has allowed me to put my energy and effort into helping others. Mid-40s couple. We feel regrets. Lots of regrets. However, we are a somewhat special case, and might still have a shot. We are past the normal age of having a child, but we froze our gametes ages ago, just in case we changed our mind about not having children. For us, The decision not to have kids was more practical than ideological. At the time, we both had chronically ill family members that required a lot of our time and, more importantly, mental energy. The idea of throwing a kid in the mix seemed unpleasant and unfair all around. Also, neither of us had much desire to have kids, we just enjoyed each other's company and that was more than enough back then. Having kids seemed like a hugely stressful experience even in the best of circumstances and we could easily sidestep it, so why not? I was the type of person who loved kids. I adore all my nephews, as long as I could give them back to their parents after some time. I am a geneticist, and the full reason I thought we should freeze our gametes was that I thought, if we did ever decide to have kids, even while we can still do it naturally but we are older, I wanted us to have young gametes and to have the embryos screened. I know this seems unromantic, but see our practical attitudes towards life above. Things are really different now since we made that decision not to have kids all those years ago. We have fewer responsibilities and our financial situation is great. We've had the chance to live and travel all over the world, live for our careers, and spend years and years in just the company of each other. I feel like we got all we can out of being child free, and we feel a longing to have a family of our own, meaning a family of more than just us two. So, now we feel a lot of regrets. Regrets about not having a kid at all and not doing it when we were younger. Old as we are, we will likely now go back to our egg and sperm cycles and give it a go if our doctor says it's okay. The funny thing is, I think my answer might be completely different if we were in the same situation now but didn't have the gametes available. I think we might not allow ourselves the luxury of regrets. When what's done is done and can't be reversed, I think it's natural to just want to look at the brighter side of things, particularly when it's a mistake you can't learn much from. I fear the answer to this. I'm ambivalent about kids, but I'll never forget holding the hand of a man on his last day in hospice as he said, "Oh God, I wish I'd had a child." He was married to one woman for close to 50 years, taught for nearly 40. His room was filled with cards and photos from former students, friends, and family. It's impossible to say if he was lucid, but the regret in his voice was heartbreaking. I say now I'd be happy with children or none, biological, adopted, or step, but until the end I won't ever know. In an alternative universe, he's holding your hand, no cards, no photos, saying I wish my child was here. We ended up adopting our nephew because his mother is irresponsible to a disturbing extreme. He's 20 now and we may end up adopting his sister soon as well. This is not how it was supposed to be, but I guess it means that there's nothing to regret. You're good people. We are in our late 50s. We earn average money but because we don't have kids we have a lot of disposable income. Also I don't think I could have coped with the worry of having a child in today's horrible world. Both our mothers are in homes. We still make sure they're okay. There's no one to look after us. I sometimes want to ask my wife if she regrets not having kids but Dent. If she said yes it would destroy me. Upvote for Dent. BF is in his late 50s and I am 45. No regrets. I got to live all over the USA and made some quick and dirty decisions that paid off which I wouldn't have been able to if I had a kid or two in tow. I feel a lot more nimble than any of my friends who have kids do. I also enjoy the downtime a lot. I can't fathom having my day packed with crap to do like my friends with kids have. I don't even have a calendar and I often go days without knowing what day it is. LOL. I'm going to probably retire with my BF in the next decade unless something lucrative turns up. Would never have been able to do that with kids either. I can't fathom having my day packed with crap to do like my friends with kids have. This so much. I have a friend with 3 kids who is going to go insane any day now. Every free moment is filled with some kid stuff that absolutely needs to be done. Frick that. My husband and I have been together for 27 years, and we originally said we didn't want kids. Then we thought we should have some, and tried for a decade with no luck. So we had a serious talk, and decided we didn't really want them after all, and stopped trying. Now that the pressure is off and we both feel nothing but relief, we are enjoying life so much. It's wonderful to just be selfish without having to make excuses or feel resentful and be able to travel on our own schedule and make decisions that just impact us. If we could have had kids naturally, no harm, no foul, and we would have loved and accepted them, but it didn't happen, so no worries. And we also don't have to worry about f***ing up another human accidentally. Life is good, and we have the finances and resources to take care of ourselves. The only negative is that we are both the end of the line for our genetic ancestors. But that doesn't seem like a good enough reason to try the crazy fertility treatments beyond what we already did. My wife and I are in our mid-40s. I hope that counts as older. We're very happy with our decision. We have the ability to live a pretty comfortable lifestyle, and I think we generally have a lot less stress than our child-having peers. And we'll be able to retire earlier. Our lives are full and fun, and I get to spend a ridiculous amount of time with my wife, which is the best thing ever. Also, there are some things that you may not think about. For example, I recently had some changes at my job that created a lot of potential income stress. I was flipping out pretty hard. If I had a kid in, or nearly in, college, I might have gone full meltdown. Many of the concerns that went into our decision not to have kids were centered around our own personalities. So I'm not a child-free advocate, or anything. But I do think that many people have kids because they are supposed to or because they want someone to take care of them when they're old, which I think is a terrible reason to have kids. Mid-40s, married for 22 years, no regrets. We're both extremely happy. We have a great marriage, fulfilling jobs, money, and time for all the fun things we want to do, and as much travel as we want. Currently on week 6 of a 7-week road trip. I have never felt a lack in my life for not having children, and have always felt that having children would be detrimental to my happiness. I'm sure it's great for those that actually want kids, but I've never been one of those people. I also have around 16 nieces and nephews, so we get to sort of experience that whole having a kid thing for a week or 2 at a time, and then send them home, which works out perfectly. Our 2 cats and 1 dog are as close to having kids that we will ever have, and trust me, that's about as much responsibility for someone else's life as we should be given. I love our pets, but having a dog has very firmly shown me that it's a good thing we never had kids. 65. Not part of a couple now. When I was, we both knew we didn't want them. I know it was the right decision. He knew he was not cut out to be a parent. I'm approaching 60. Husband is approaching 70. And we get that question a lot. We know we made the right choice. I'm a teacher, so I've spent my life working with wonderful kids, but simply never wanted to go home to more kids after work. We don't know who will take care of us when we're decrepit, but adult children are no guarantee of having care in old age. However, I think we both miss having grandchildren to take places. Christmas is quiet, and family barbecues are non-existent. That part is a bit sad. The biggest reasons I never had kids. I'm an only child and prefer being alone. I would be scared stiff the kid would be disabled and it'd be stuck with the problems and the guilt. I don't like kids. Been married almost 19 years. We tried to have kids in the beginning but couldn't get pregnant. What followed were serious health issues between the two of us that stalled our efforts. In 2017, I had to have a hysterectomy. We were fortunate that we had a niece and nephew that we consider our kids. Their dad was a drug addict and their mom was seriously mentally ill, so we unofficially took them in. Now that niece has an on-again, off-again drug habit and many personal problems, and we have a similar relationship with her son and daughter, though their grandmother currently had custody. Not the best situation, but at least we have had opportunities to step into parental roles. At this point, we are pretty set in our ways and have accepted that we don't have kids. We have a great marriage and we like our peace and quiet. I'm a bit of an oddball, and sorry for hijacking if I did. I had a son at 19. He was a surprise, to say the least. I married when he was 5, not his biological contributor. We did try to have children, but it didn't happen naturally and we just decided that one was enough. I'm 45 now, and I thank my lucky stars that we didn't have more children. I am disabled. My husband had a stroke at 49. 55 this year, and we'd never be able to handle children and we're about 15ish now, and would have been like 9 when hubby had the stroke. My son was pretty independent when I became disabled, about 16, so he was kinda thrown into being a bit of an adult too quickly. No regrets on no more kids, but do regret checking out for a few years on my son. We're good now though. Considering any kids I have would have a 50% chance of having Friedreich-like ataxia with vitamin E deficiency. I don't feel bad at all. Not having children is a big deal in my life, yet my husband was diagnosed with MS the year we were married. His mother had it and his grandmother did. Met with a geneticist and found out we had an 80% chance we would have a child with MS. He is and has been healthy for 28 years after 5 years of issues due to the wonderful medication that was finally invented. Yet we could not live with the guilt of having a child with MS. We could not adopt either. Before the ADA Act was fully implemented we could not adopt a child because he had MS. Even after that, they left us on the bottom of the list. We did not choose this, but are fine without kids. We just love and care for the kids around us. We're both in our mid-40s. When we got married in our mid-20s we were trying to have kids, until we realized that we were pretty much just doing it because it was expected of us by family. I decided to not get pregnant and my husband has supported my decision. After a few years my husband started having spotty employment due to health issues and ended up on disability. We don't know if he'll ever be able to work again or what his long-term health will be like. We were concerned that he wouldn't be able to contribute to a child's life, either financially or by providing care. Plus I found out I have fertility issues and it would be very expensive and difficult, if not impossible, for me to get pregnant. Also I've realized in the last few years that 1. My upbringing qualifies as abuse and I'm more like my abuser than I'm comfortable admitting. 2. I don't want to treat a kid the way I got treated but I'm afraid it would be inevitable without a crap ton of ongoing therapy for the entire family. And 3. I realize that I just don't really like kids that much. Having a kid around for a couple hours? Fine. 24/7 for minimum 18 years? No thanks. Sometimes I worry that when we're old we'll be alone and regret it then, but we have plenty of nieces and nephews, and the fear of the possibility of regret 30 or 40 years from now isn't a valid reason to get pregnant. Have an aunt and uncle, not by blood but a very close family friend, who said he did not want them because he didn't want to risk exposing them to his temper. His wife, aunt, didn't feel she was capable to raise them, so they didn't. They told my dad, who is one of his best friends, that they would be disappointed if they had them and they did not turn out like my siblings and I. Also, they said they had enough friends who had kids that if they needed to get a parent-child experience taste then they could just give them a call, enjoy it for a few hours, then get back to their life. I love our decision not to have kids. I've always had trouble adulting well and the idea of spending all my spare cash on diapers and bottles didn't appeal to me. I'm selfish. So is the husband, and we are okay with that. I have to prepare for old age because I'm not going to have any kids to look out for me when I'm frail and senile, which sometimes worries me, but then I remember that I didn't have to raise kids and I smile a bit. The thread is over, but if you were looking for another data point, my wife, F48, and I, F50, tried for years but could not have kids. We are living an incredible life full of travel and fun. And if anything, we are really glad we didn't have kids, since we would have been very old parents. I'm sad and in many ways I think my husband is also. He is terrific around our friends' kids. Me not so much, but I see the unbelievable love that my friends have for their children and that is something I will never know. We've had great careers and have a wonderful life together. But it is also true that we also are very much alone without family. Our siblings all live far away and parents are gone. So when we die, that's it. We have lived a self-absorbed life is my guess. It doesn't feel that good deep down. I'm so sorry. If it's any consolation, you couldn't have known. We all have decisions to make and many of us end up with regrets. I'm going to give you the different answer. I met my guy at 26. I was ready for kids at 32. He started stalling, hoping to run my clock out. I thought I was too old to find someone new in time to have kids. I tried to accept it, to find something else to give my life purpose. I have a fulfilling professional career. I donate. I volunteer. I care for my older family members. I have friends. But, you know what? I never got over my anger and resentment of being denied children. Last year, after 20 years together, I ended things. Now I'm back to looking at ways to become a mom. However that happens, I have my own frozen eggs. I'm open to fostering or adopting, and I don't regret leaving my eggs, not even a little. I feel resentment and cheated. For what it's worth, embryo adoption is also a thing. It's far more cost effective than domestic infant adoption, and you can generally do it until age 55. After that, on a case-by-case basis. Some people can move past it, others can't until they have exhausted every possible outlet. I'm in the latter category. I wish you peace with whatever you decide. 3. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.